I'm going to hit the record button and then explain a little bit about what we're doing here for Jerry's benefit and everybody else's for that matter, since we haven't met for a while. And then we'll get going. Jerry, what we have here is I forget when you joined School of Podcasting, a month or so ago, maybe 2 months ago,
Three
something like.
weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
the four of us here and about a half a dozen others have been part of School of Podcasting for some time, and then several months ago, actually last to take a very long story, make it very short. Last November, I had a live event where Craig was my keynote speaker about AI stuff, and we decided to create a an event for the community, the uh, the School of Podcasting community, and also the community that I've developed around what we call Pod Indie, which is this live event that I do. And anyhow, just to offer AI, because Craig's specialty is AI
Wow.
stuff. He teaches AI at Louisiana Tech University and has an AI oriented podcast to kind of help people fill and specifically about how people can use AI and help in writing books and other things like that. And
Great.
so that's kind of the specific task at hand. So we completed that 6 week cohort about a month ago. And then the group then decided to try to meet once a month or so to kind of keep up a little bit
Okay.
and invite other people to come in who kind of have some connection to what we're doing. And then
Nice.
Craig and I are also kind of planning a new cohort to kind of more for the public for the fall. And this is kind of our beta group, so to speak, for that. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Is that so summarize it okay there, Craig, and for what we're doing? And so we've had about as many as 8 or 10 of us, and sometimes as few as few as 3 or 4 of us, but basically Craig and I do this for our community that we want to do it, and the idea today is to Craig's got some things to share with us and kind of stay sharp or at least up to speed on AI stuff and have a lot of back and forth on a mastermind style kind of thing. So,
Great.
does
Thank
anybody have any
you.
questions about that, particularly you, Jerry, about what we're doing here?
No, that sounds great to me. Thank you.
So the plan basically is to meet once. Our agreement we made a month ago was to meet once a month, basically to the end of this year, and kind of evaluate, where we stand. So, is that okay, everybody? So
And at this point, this is just a service to the community. It's because we like each other. It's kind of, well, experience all the silliness at lunch with Dave, and we kind of enjoy it. And so this is a
You
chance to do
like
something
us.
similar.
It's like, oh,
So we
couldn't resist. Sorry.
Anytime we get to work in the Blues Brothers and the Jerk
yeah,
movies in one session, it's okay with me. So
there we go, and then so
Funny.
Craig's
That's
kind of the
great.
man. Craig's kind of the man content wise, and I try to kind of run the back end stuff, which is always dangerous because I'm quite capable of screwing stuff up. Yeah. All right. Well, let's just dive in, Craig. I know you had some things you wanted to share your screen and had some other things to share, and
yeah,
we'll go.
and so let me start by saying if anything I talk about, I don't want to say goes over your head, but you're not quite sure what I'm saying, stop me, because sometimes I get ahead of myself on these things and get excited. So if you need to slow me down or say, hey, wait a second, you used a term I don't understand, I'm not offended by that at all. So just feel free to stop, or if you have a question at any time. This is not a big formal thing. I don't have slides or anything
Two-syllable
like
words.
that. Polysyllabic.
So we're not in your doctoral thesis group at your university, right?
My favorite illustration of the world I live in is we love the word parsimonious
Oh man.
Ooh.
and it means simple. But we cannot have a simple word to say simple. So
Oxymoron.
that's right. So we have to say
There you go.
parsimonious. So I wanted to show you 2 or 3 things. I'm going to show you something in Claude Code, and then I'm going to show you some things in Codex, which is OpenAI's coding agent. But let me give you the background here. What I think we're
Hey,
starting
Craig,
to
can I stop
see,
you right there for a second? So Claude, I'm just saying, so Claude Code
14,
versus Codex.
14 seconds until the first question, by the
Sorry,
way.
well, you got, okay, so I'm gonna let you go. It's a record. They're two separate, like Claude is, and Claude
Right,
Code is one
right,
thing, and then Codex is like
right,
over
right.
some other company over there.
So that's right. So
Okay.
Claude Cowork and Claude Code are all the same thing, and you can access it all within the same app. Codex is OpenAI, that's ChatGPT's version of Claude Code. So these things started out as coding
So I didn't
agents
know that.
where
Yeah.
somebody that's a software engineer would go in and it would help them write their code. But as we started to get into what's called agentic AI, where AI does more stuff on its own, people started to see how good these coding agents could be for just general knowledge work, which is what we all do. I mean, everybody that's on here is doing or has done knowledge work. And so we're in this transition period where these coding agents kind of have a foot in each camp. Co-work is how Anthropic, Claude, is trying to handle that. OpenAI is probably in the next couple of months going to release a super app where it brings all of its stuff together in the same way Claude has. In terms of principles, it doesn't matter which system you're using, they kind of work the same. And if you would have asked me which one was better this time last week, I would have said Codex, but Anthropic, Claude. So Anthropic is the company behind Claude. Claude is like ChatGPT. They released their Fable 5 model, which is it's the consumer version of the Mythos model that was in the news about being so scary, where they didn't release it because it was so good. It could cause a lot of cybersecurity problems. So I'm going to show you both so you can get a flavor of both. But everything I show you is going to work in either one. And then I'm going to talk about something called context engineering that will work even if you're just using the chatbots. Even if you're just using ChatGPT or straight Claude. So I want to start with Claude. Let me share my screen. All right, and you should be seeing Claude now. And as Nancy and Devreen know, and Brad knows, if you see my eyes bouncing around, it's because I've got you guys on a separate screen. And so, like right now, I'm looking at you. So it gets a little hard for me to keep track of everything.
We'll
So
try not to be offended by that, so that's okay.
so this is the Claude app. I haven't used it on Windows, but I'm assuming it looks kind of the same. Nancy, I know you're a Windows user. So
Same here.
so it's got three different subsystems. One is regular old chat, which is really good for most regular stuff you're going to do. So if you want feedback on a script, or you want to take a script and maybe, I don't know, create some pull quotes, chat is perfectly fine for that. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It is not as autonomous as Claude Cowork is. Cowork will go out and do more stuff on its own. So you can tell it to do something and it will work and work and work and create documents. I've had it rename files. It'll do all kinds of stuff that chat isn't able to do. And then code with Claude, I would not use it except for the thing I'm getting ready to show you. Can you all hang on for 1 second? I'm getting a phone call I think I have to take. This is Craig.
Hi, Craig. This is Russ.
Buck, are you there, buddy?
I'm here.
Okay. Well, we just got started a couple minutes ago, and Craig had to take a call, but we're just glad you're here, man.
Glad to be here.
All right. Are you seeing the screen okay there?
Yeah, I see him.
Okay. Buck, we're in Claude right now is where we're at.
Okay.
Okay. And Craig had to take a call there, but he's be back here very shortly, it looks like.
I like your 3D representation, Buck.
Thank you.
So sorry about that. We have an exterminator coming over, and I may have to break away to talk to him. So there's a really cool
Craig,
thing
Buck, since you took your call, Buck joined us, so say hi to Buck.
Hey, Buck.
Hi, Craig.
It's been so long. So
Yeah, I know.
we should have just kept going, you know. So there's a really cool thing in Claude code called routines. And what it does is it will go out, you can kind of work with it to create a routine that will just go out and do something periodically. And it more or less does it on its own. So I'm going to give you a silly example and then a more serious example. So my wife is an insane St. Louis Cardinals fan, and I'm a less insane Cardinals fan. So I set up this routine every day. It goes out and gets the latest news about the St. Louis Cardinals. And this is an example of it. So they are currently second in the NL Central, 4 games behind the Brewers. They're way above 500. You know, it has all this stuff. But I set this up once, and then it just goes out and runs it every day. Here's the one that's more serious. So this is my AI Goes to College news scan. So every day at 9 o'clock, it goes out, and I ran this one early this morning to make sure I had something to show y'all. It goes out and grabs what it thinks is the news about the intersection of AI and higher ed. And it just writes this daily scan. And I'll show you the instructions for it in a second.
Oh, that's cool.
And this is like a content gold mine.
Yeah.
So, Nancy, you could have it scan for interesting culinary stories or for new food products or whatever.
This is better than, was it the Google Alerts? Much better.
Yeah, much.
Yeah, I'll get rid of those altogether.
Because it just writes this. There are a couple of little twists in this, but they're minor. And so I have this done every weekday. Now, I didn't. It's going to look like I wrote this thing that's very complicated. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So it's this big long thing, but I wrote this with chat.
Mhm.
You know, it will help, and we're going to create a routine here. I gave it some instructions about my voice, just a bunch, and I'm just going to scroll through a little bit slowly here. So the cadence is how often it runs. Here's the basic prompt. A little bit about AI Goes to College. What to cover. So these are kind of the topics to cover. What to not
Well, and then
cover.
from there, you could download it and say, make a blog that's 800 words based on XYZ, I guess, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know if you remember last week during lunch with Dave, I talked about doing a weekly news podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It would be based on these. So I would take, these are all stored in a folder. I would grab them out of that folder, give them to Claude or ChatGPT or whatever, and say, write a script for the news podcast.
You were thinking about doing like a weekly AI college oriented
right
news podcast.
Right.
Okay.
And I'll show you more about that because I was playing with it this morning. So we came up with some examples of good people to talk to. And I didn't spend much time creating this.
When you do this kind of setup, sometimes, well, I'm going to imagine on average, there's a lot of search that it'll do that's common to everybody. But if you want to stand out and be different, do you tell that right up front? It's like, look, I don't want the same old slosh that everybody else does. I want to be, cutting edge on the top, whatever, and give me stuff that's raw and different.
Well, so the short answer is yes. The longer answer is yes, but you need to tell it what you mean by that.
Got it. Okay. So they wouldn't necessarily know what raw and different means.
Right, right. And so you might need some back and forth. You might need to run it a few times.
And see what it comes up with.
And you can run these manually. You don't have to wait till the next day to run it. You can run it 5 times in 5 minutes if you want to.
And do you set that up in the Claude Code terminal or web or IDE extension?
On the app, just right here. I'm in the Claude app.
Yeah, but you've already got it downloaded on your computer. I didn't download it yet. I have Claude, but I don't have the Claude app.
Yeah, you're going to need the Claude app.
Okay, so Claude.app, not Claude.ai.
I don't know where it is because it's been a long time since I did.
Okay, because it's when you got the link on the side. If you go, you clicked on mine allowed me to click on. It said code, products, code. And then it took me to a page that said, where do I want it?
Yeah,
Just be clear, you're in the Claude universe now. You're not in the JTT.
I'm in Claude. I'm in Claude.
And you can do this exact same thing in the ChatGPT universe and Codex, and I'll show you that in a minute.
All right, then I'll just shut up and not be a nudge here.
No, that's all right. And I'll if I can find out where my chat window is. This is the link. I just put the link in chat.
Okay, thanks.
That there's a link on that page to the downloads page. Okay. So, but Nancy, to your point, this is where you would make it not generic.
Right. Okay.
Like, I don't care about venture capital.
No, right.
Some of the, and I'm pretty happy with how this went, but you can go in and refine this every time it runs. You can tell it to not have this or not have that. All right. Now, here's a little hitch, and it may be, I was a little reluctant to give it too much permission. Mm-hmm. So if I'm not in Claude paying attention, it will wait for me to give it permission to write.
Yeah.
So it'll say, okay, I've got enough information. And this, I shouldn't have even run this because I ran it at 4 o'clock in the morning and then again at 9 o'clock in the morning. So all you have to do is to come in here and click on always allow, which doesn't really mean always allow. It means always allow for this session.
Is it basically just while you're in the app? It will only run when you're in the app, or?
I think it will run as long as your computer's on and the app is active.
Okay.
But I didn't realize I had not done this yet today. So it'll just sit there and wait for you. And you go back in. I'll show you how you can go back in.
Okay.
Very polite.
Yeah. So it's nice. So just to show you how you go back in, you click on routines, double click on the routine you want to access. And then if you see kind of a red or orange circle here, that means it's still running, and you just double click on this and it'll take you to that routine, and then you can say, go ahead, proceed. All right? Now, let's do one. So I've got a little chat window here, and I'm going to talk because I can talk faster than I type, so I'm going to use monologue to enter all of this. I want to create a routine that has a daily podcast news update. I want to know what's going on in the industry, what new tools are available, what new podcasting methods or techniques, what experts like Dave Jackson, David Hooper have to say. I don't want just the run-of-the-mill stuff that everybody will have. I want to see what's out there that might be getting missed otherwise. Now, that's a pretty terrible prompt. You know, it's unrefined, it's nothing special. I'm going to pretend I did that on purpose. Come in here, click on draft routine, and it's going to go through. Now, look at this. It created all of these instructions that quickly.
Hmm.
And I'm just going to, we can select a trigger. If I wanted to run daily at 4 a.m., it knows me well because I'm up that early. I'm going to tell it to write the brief in markdown format. Use the right like. And for those of you who may not remember, you can create skills in Claude that can mimic your writing style. So I have 3 of them. I have this one, which is writing like my AI goes to college writing style. I have one that's write like Craig academic. That's more my academic voice. And then I've got one that's more my philosophy voice as well. And so you can create a bunch of these if you want to. Be careful about the model you use. I would probably use Sonnet for this. So let me spend just a minute talking about model use. So Anthropic, in Claude, one of the bad things about it is it has tighter usage limits than ChatGPT. So you can run out of capacity where it won't let you do anything more quickly. If you think of them as, they're not really credits they're kind of credits. So the more capable models are up here at the top. The less capable models are down here at the bottom. The less capable models burn through fewer credits. Think about it as if they were employees. Fable is the really, really expensive $200,000 a year person. And Sonnet would be the $100,000 a year person. This is not a $200,000 a year person task. There's not a lot of deep reasoning that has to go on, not a lot of deep analysis. So I would probably either use Sonnet 4.6 or maybe Opus 4.7. Although I'm going to go back on what I said. I think they are not in strict order. I think Haiku would be, that's their lightest model. So Sonnet's kind of the mid-range. I don't know why they have this order. So I would use Sonnet 4.6 or Opus 4.7. I'm going to use Sonnet 4.6 because it's fine. That's kind of their mid-range model. I really should have set up a folder for this beforehand, but I didn't. So we're going to let it put it wherever it wants to put it. All right? You can do things like connecting your calendar, Google Drive, different connectors. We're not going to do any of that. That's way too complicated for right now. All right, and then I'm going to click on Create. So now it's created. And what we're going to do is we're going to run it. And in riveting television, we're going to watch it run. Is this making sense? I'm not sure if.
Yeah. So
Okay.
far.
Well, it's a lot there, but it's making sense in terms of a process that can be followed. And I think one of the kind of the discerning things is trying to figure, at least for me, is trying to figure out the level of complexity of what I'm writing and working on and which model, which Claude model to apply it to it. And I've been kind of arbitrarily with the scripts and things I've been writing, just doing um, the 4.6. So
Yeah, and 4.6 is a good model. A lot of people like it more than 4.7, and you mostly don't have to worry about that. If it's not complicated, Sonnet is fine. If it's a little more complicated, use one of the Opus models. If it's really tough, you might want to use Fable, but they're going to take Fable away. It's available until June 22nd, and then I think they're like drug dealers. They've given us a taste, and they're going to yank it away from us soon. And what, they're not really going to yank it away from us. What they're going to do is they're going to start charging us more for it. So,
Well, Fable is a graphic tool. It looks, from what I could see, I didn't know what it was. I got a notice today, and somebody said, "Oh, you could test in beta Fable," and it looked like almost like a game that you could set up.
oh, you can. I mean, I'm reading things online where people are creating really good software apps in a matter of minutes
Wow.
with it. So I'm still testing it. We've only had it for a few days, so I'm still trying to push its limits a little bit. All right, let's let this run and come back to it, so we're not sitting here staring at this screen.
Greg, quick clarification question.
Sure.
So if I'm understanding correctly, this won't run like when you're asleep and your computer's shut off then, is it?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay.
But since it doesn't usually take all that long to run, this one I think is taking a longer time because it's the first time it runs it. I suspect if I run it again tomorrow, it's going to run more quickly because it's looking at a lot of stuff now. But it will, tomorrow, it'll go through and kind of filter out everything between, so it only looks at between now and tomorrow.
Okay.
So I think it's taking longer than it would normally take. So I don't worry about, you can have a computer that you keep running, keep Claude open, but for most of what we would do, I don't think it's worth that. Just come in, check it. If it didn't execute because your computer wasn't on, you could just go in and give it the permission it needs because it'll run. It just is going to wait for you to give it permission.
Okay.
And so I would not, I don't know. I don't think it's worth keeping the computer open
Yeah.
and giving it excess permissions.
Yeah.
It makes me a little nervous.
Agreed.
So,
Okay.
so here, for those of you who are in the ChatGPT world, this is Codex. Codex is right now is a separate app. If you have, I think even the free versions, but I know if you have any of the paid versions, you can get Codex. But it is a separate app. Unlike Claude, you don't have both chat and the coding agent in the same app. They're two separate apps. So like here, what I'm saying this and you can't see it.
Is it necessary to have them the same? Not necessarily, right?
No, it's no big deal. It's a little more convenient to have all three of them in one app, but it really
You're
it
just
doesn't
not
matter.
switching windows kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean it's trivial.
Yeah.
I don't even notice it. So what Claude called routines, Codex, which is OpenAI's ChatGPT, calls automations. But they're kind of the same thing. All right, so here's my weekly AI goes, well, I'm sorry, let me go back. Here's my daily news scan with Codex. And it's kind of the same stuff. And does anybody use both?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would, the only reason I have this AI Goes to College daily news scan in both is I wanted to test both. There's no reason to run them both every day.
And what have you found?
It's kind of the same. there's not enough difference to where I care. I generally use Claude Code for this because I set it up first. But here's something I did, kind of along the lines of what I think, Nancy, you were asking, or somebody was asking. I have an automation that goes out once a week, reads all of those briefings, and then creates, because I'm an academic, I can't call it a summary. I had to call it a compendium. So it creates this compendium, which is pretty cool. It goes through, pulls the prior week worth of briefings, and creates this. It creates a couple of things. It gives me a Substack draft, so I could copy and paste this and put it into Substack. It gives me a synthesis, which isn't really written like a blog post. And it gives me that in markdown format, which is kind of like HTML, but for single documents, and in a Word document. And there's no real reason to have it in both formats. I just was playing around.
I found the chat got really, I would say it simple and stupid. I mean, so that's a very academic word. And its approach to its
Parsimonious.
answers. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Over the last couple of weeks, and then just this week, it all of a sudden found its zone again and is now like on target. It's like, whoa. I mean, I'm very happy with what's happening this week versus like the past month and a half or so.
So there's a repeating cycle with these tools that I don't know that anybody's ever actually come out and admitted. But right about the time they're going to bring out a new model,
They dumb it down.
Well, I think they push a lot of computing resources to getting that new model ready. And so they do things to lessen the computing resources used by their other models, which makes them seem dumber. And so
other
whenever
than
you see
the visual stuff in chat has just been exquisite for me. It's been great.
So I mean, that's what the rumor mill says. I don't know that it's true, but I don't know whether I'm seeing an elephant because somebody said see
possible.
elephants, or if it's really going on. But I would really encourage you to play around with these because they can be very powerful. And I'm going to show you something I did with Codex that this sounds so clickbaity, that you won't believe. But sorry, I have a cat pawing at me. So it's pretty interesting what it can do. I've played around with some other things. Like I wanted it to convert a bunch of markdown documents to Word documents, which is pretty easy to do. And I'm sorry, I'm going to have to step away for just a minute to deal with the exterminator. This is Craig. Sorry, I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Sure.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Mr. Craig. I'm sorry to bother you again.
Well, while he's chatting there, let me cover a couple of other items I'd like to was going to chat about at the end of our time together. And that is, I would, especially those of you who are part of our cohort before, Craig and I have been meeting, and we're really looking to put together a more detailed cohort based on what we've just done, which is for Buck and Jerry. What we're doing today is similar to what we did for 6 weeks in a row, but we kind of had the focus on using it to write a book or to write a manuscript. So I just want to get you that kind of understanding of the reason I'm writing a book. where I'm taking my 130 or so episodes of my cancer related podcast and putting them in there. We're using these tools to help do that. And others, and Nancy, I know, has already written a couple books, and I think you're working on a new one kind of based on some of this stuff, aren't you, Nancy? I forget what you're working on,
I
but
know I was going to do an update for my
update. Okay.
911 book, but we're just trying to get a new co-host and everything sort of reorganized it up to the next level. So we're focusing on
Yeah.
that right now.
Well, what I'm getting at is we're wanting to get some feedback from what we did a few months ago and also now in order to build kind of some data to use in our copy we're going to use as we're going to do a new cohort, a paid cohort in the fall and promote it to, AI oriented websites and other things like that that are out there and people who are interested in kind of in the two worlds, the author world and the AI world, and the intersection of that is what we're looking to kind of do. So if any of you have anything you'd like to share with me, and I probably put together a tool on this, and I haven't done it yet, but basically I'd like to compile some basically testimonials of what you've experienced with us. I'd really like to get in video if I can, just a couple of minutes, just kind of what you experienced, if it was worth value to you, and that type of thing. And then also any progress you may have made on actually taking some AI teaching that we've done, basically, and to apply it to your situations. So I know that's kind of, several of us have worked on those type of things. Devrain, I know you have, and Nancy has, and I have. So that's kind of part of what we're looking for. Now, the part of what we're looking to do, and then is to certainly be a part of promoting this, and we're looking to do this in the fall, like a October, November type of time frame. And we really are going to be looking at that, kind of gathering a team of the people who have some experience with us to help us to promote it, to be honest with you, on your email list and other things that you're a part of to be out there. We would really like for you to consider to do that, to help us to push it out there. We feel like we just, if we can get another cohort together this fall of another, dozen or so people or 8 to 12 people, that's kind of what you want. 'Cause the differentiator we're looking at, there's lots of tools out there, lots of courses out there about AI stuff, but we're looking to make sure this is the human interaction, so it'd be somewhat similar to what we're doing right here, where Craig is going to be on doing teaching the AI, and we're going to be able to do Q&A and then take the information. We're recording everything and kind of put it then into, we're going to do some more work on a breakup. Like the idea would take this 90 minutes here and break it up into, 3 or 4, 5, 6 to 12 minute type videos to really kind of hone in on the teaching points. And so we're going to be looking to create basically a publicity team or a promotion team this fall sometime. This is kind of some stuff Craig and I have been working on. So just react with, while he's on the phone here doing something else, just react with me. Is this the type of thing those of you here would be willing to at least have a conversation with Craig and I about how being part of a team to kind of help get this out there?
Sure, I'll be happy to help where I can.
Yeah, likewise. Likewise.
Okay. Well, that's
Mhm.
that's all we're really asking right now, other than if you do have anything you want to put down, Devreen and Nancy particularly, if you do want to send me a short video, 2 or 3 minutes, kind of your testimony about our experience together, that would be a beautiful thing. We're going to compile those. And I'll be sending out some sort of an email here in the next few weeks. But Craig and I, we just met a couple days ago and we talked some more about, we basically wanted to decide, number one, if we were going to do it again, and if so, how we're going to do it. And, we're trying to formulate it, kind of a business endeavor out of this. And as you probably know, AI related things are super popular out there, but it changes constantly. And there's many different levels of expertise. Anybody can say, hey, I'm an AI expert. And some people just, don't know.
Brad, I have to say that of all the other things that are out there, because I'm bombarded, I'm sure everybody else is, by every AI hype sort of piece of garbage that's out there. Not that it's all garbage, but you can certainly just copy and paste and take what they're out there promoting. But it comes across as, the only way I can describe it is sort of a jam it down your throat kind of promotion.
Hmm.
And having been through some of those programs, it's very aggressive. It's like fast, 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 fast. And what I personally like here is that you're calm, you're methodical, you're patient, as opposed to, okay, it's the next thing. We got to get through this in like 4 seconds or less. So that type of approach, I think, will help, at least in my perspective,
We want it to be really
is your
human.
main differentiator really from that. And then, Craig is there because he's on top of it all the time versus somebody who's just copying and pasting from some other
Well,
tool.
our
Yeah, agreed.
motivation, Craig's eye motivation, he can speak to it as well, was initially just to serve our community and be really human to human. Because
Comes across. Yeah.
that's the big thing that, uh, AI slop and all the other terminologies that are coming to play about AI, you being less than human. And what I see from what I work on, just, I work on scripts in my book and things like that, is a huge tool, and it magnifies and amplifies and condenses and time-wise condenses things so dramatically. It's a huge tool. I'll just
Yeah.
use an example. Both Craig and I have doctoral degrees, and if we wanted to, we could unpack for you what it was like, 20 years ago getting a doctoral degree, and anything meant
No, thank you.
hours in the library. I'm talking about many hours in a library, and other places. And research was much more difficult. And just literally condensing, going through data alone is a huge,
Microfiches.
huge thing. So I just use it as an example. And we want to be human to human. We want to serve initially our two communities, uh, the School of Podcasting and Pod Indie. And then if we had some traction on it, which is where we're at now, and to maybe do something business oriented towards that. And even then, we still want to be careful. I don't think Craig and I have in mind, if we do a cohort again, even if we charge a significant amount of money for it, it's still going to be 12 people, something like that, max.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just want to get your feedback on that. So it looks like Craig's back with us, and
Yep. Sorry about the delay.
I've been trying to figure out the meaning of that word that means simple. That was 18 syllables.
Parsimonious. Yes. I still remember when I learned that word. It just cracks me up.
Parsimonious, is that what it was?
Parsimonious.
Parsimonious. I'm going to remember
It
that.
basically means not complex.
Yeah. Or our
So-
word in the theology word was transubstantiation, which just
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
if anybody knows that one,
Existentialism.
there's
Transmorgification.
there you
I
go.
only know that because of Calvin and Hobbes, but
There you go.
I think some of those words, if I heard you say them to me, I would probably ask, "What did you call me?"
Yeah. Well, you
know.
got to be careful about all that stuff. But
say that to my face.
Right.
Charlie Brown said.
yeah, when I first wrote my first draft of my doctoral dissertation, which was a couple hundred pages, I had my title was about a paragraph long, and my advisor had, took me and said, "Okay, we got to fix this." And then my final title was about 8 words long, So
1 page.
I have
bio.
a student defending his dissertation next week on anthropomorphism and AI.
Ooh,
That's
I
another
like
big
that.
there
word.
you go.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, how you doing? Are you okay with your pesticide guy or whatever?
Yeah. He just needed to know which building. Our neighbor cat, who's supposed to be, we have a neighbor cat that hangs out here more than he does at his house. He's our half cat. He's I think he's gotten lazy in the heat, and we have a rat in a shed.
Oh,
So
boy.
The
Okay.
bugs are dead, and the rat will be dead.
Well, I was just sharing with him kind of our philosophy, Craig, what we're doing, and we're kind of want to get some testimonials and things like that as we think about launching a new cohort in the fall. So,
and before we get into an example of an automation, as some of you already know, if you get stuck with any of this stuff, just email me at craig@aigoestocollege.com. And I'm very happy to jump on a Zoom with you and kind of work through it. I don't mind. I enjoy doing it.
yeah.
So, all right. So the routines and Claude and the automations in Codex are essentially the same thing. And you create them in
ask-
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Craig. Can I just say the whole time that you're talking, and maybe I'm on the wrong track, but this is, I don't know, it seems like it's it's a little bit, it reminds me a little bit of like news, talking points, you want your talking points every morning. Here they are,
No, right,
you know.
right,
It's
right. That's
very, very
exactly the
interesting.
kind of thing. But you can do a lot of other stuff
Yeah.
with this as well. And I'll give you a few examples of things that I've done in Codex that I also could have done with Claude Cowork.
Social
But I
media
want to.
posts and stuff like that, and
Oh yeah, I mean, all and
marketing.
stuff much more complicated than that
Yeah.
even.
Yeah.
So you really are going to be blown away by one of them. So we create via chat. Now it gives you this prompt, which you can just execute. So I don't know. I think I'm going to give it, I want to give it the exact same prompt I gave before, but I'm going to call it an automation instead of a routine.
Mhm.
But this is literally a copy and paste of what I put into Claude. And let's,
And you could do this. You've got it at 5.5 high, so you can do it at other levels.
yeah.
And it
Oh,
does it make that much of a difference between them?
I don't
That
know
speed?
because OpenAI's limits are so much more liberal
Okay.
than Claude's that I just tend to use 5.5 high all
Okay.
the time. I mean, right now I'm on the $100 a month plan with
With both of them, or with?
yeah, with both of them, which is overkill. There's no need to do that for anybody normal. Um, what? But I'll show you. I've been using it pretty heavily, and I've got 98% of my week's usage capacity left.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it resets every 5 hours, and I've got
Oh wow. Okay.
99%. So that's why I've been using Codex more than Claude Cowork, just because the usage limits are so much higher. Not really about capabilities.
Okay.
But all that being said, if you're not running into usage problems with Claude, this would not be a reason to switch over to ChatGPT. But if you find yourself butting up against usage limits with Claude, you might consider making a switch.
And you're using Codex only for creating automations,
No, I'm
not
using it for
for writing or for anything else?
I'm using it for a lot of stuff.
Oh, really? Okay. So you can use you can use the Codex pretty much for the same thing that you would use in regular chat.
If I want to create something that's a file, or if I want to give it a lot of context, then I tend to use Cowork.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I said Cowork.
Codex.
I say
Codex.
Cowork and Codex because I use them for the same kinds of things.
Got it.
So, but here's the Codex version
All right.
of the prompt. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can go back. It's got it done. Go back to automations. And we will run this.
Yeah.
And while we're doing that, I want to show you something I did that I'm still blown away by. So the quick backstory, I'm giving, whoops, and I screwed up here. I put this in the wrong, I wasn't paying attention and put this in the wrong folder, so I'm going to have to go back and fix that later. We're very close to having approval for what I think is the country's first academic program in AI agent management.
Ooh.
It's kind of like a minor. And as part of that, we're going to have a junior level course in AI agent management, principles of it. Well, there's no textbook because literally nobody's doing this. So I got to thinking, I wonder if I can get meta here and write the textbook with an AI agent. And so
Yeah.
I did.
Wow.
And so that's what all
Where
of
do you
this
see
is.
this, everybody? This is cool. This is cool.
Wow.
Nice.
And there's a lot to this. So I went through, said, and I want to take a little bit of time with this. I'm going to show you. Let me stop sharing and reshare. So I want to talk about context. So one of the great things about Codex or Claude Code, Cowork, is that you can give it a lot of context. I'm trying to find the right one. We'll see. We'll get there. Here we go. So before I did anything, are you seeing a file
Mhm.
window finder?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I went in and created a folder called AI Textbook, gave it some stuff I'd been working on, my syllabus. I have another textbook we just done a new chapter for, and I wanted to follow the same pattern. I gave it that chapter. I have something I've been working on called the Human AI Developmental Hierarchy. I gave it a paper about that and a couple of diagrams. I worked out kind of a plan for what I wanted to do, and then turned Codex loose and had it start writing. Now I've lost Codex. Here it is. Start writing chapters. So you can see, I just said, I want to do a grand experiment. There's a new course. Do you think you can write the textbook for it? We went back and forth a little bit, refined some things. I pointed it to the syllabus in the example chapter. It goes through. We kind of went back and forth on what the flow of the book should be. Created this. I'm a big fan of creating an architecture for a book and refining that before I start writing the book. So we created this architecture. And we kind of went through and planned out the first chapter, the flow of the first chapter. Writing a book like this, if you have a very consistent rhythm of how the book goes, it works really well. So we worked out that rhythm, refined it a little bit more, kept refining. And then eventually it wrote chapter 1.
Wow. In your voice, then.
In my
right?
voice, yes. It uses a skill, Write Like Craig skill.
Nice.
It's got learning activities. It's
Wow.
got end of chapter stuff, review questions, key terms.
Wow.
And this is something that's more in depth than Chat GPT. Is that right?
Well, it's actually using it's using the same model,
Okay.
but it's just more autonomous. It will go out and do more stuff on its own. So
Mm.
with ChatGPT, you're sitting across from somebody working with them. With Codex or Cowork or Claude Code, you're kind of getting everything set up, like you're bringing somebody into your office. We've got this project. Here's how we're going to do it, and then they go off and do it,
Oh.
and then they come back to you when it's done.
So it kind of thinks.
Yeah, it thinks, it reasons, it'll, like I said, it does things on its own. And what I did is we went back and forth on the first few chapters quite a bit. And then after about the third chapter, I just set it loose. We took a little tangent here because I thought of a couple of appendices we needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to let you take a look at that a little bit more, and then I'm going to find
Will
the
it
right
format
window
it for you too, or
kind of formatting.
you could probably put it into one of the format tools or programs that are
Yeah,
out there. Book.
but it uses styles and all of that kind of stuff that
Mhm.
makes it easy. I mean, this still floors me.
Yeah, that's
Um,
remarkable.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I even had it create the cover.
Whoa, nice.
Nice.
That's a pretty
Very
good
nice.
cover.
Yeah,
too
that's
bad.
really
that
nice.
It's very
because
clever.
I'm a believer in full disclosure, I'm adding it as a co-author.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love it.
nice,
Love it.
nice.
You haven't named your, chat
Yeah,
like your sourdough starter, right?
that's right. That's right. I do have it named. I just can't say the name in polite
Uh-oh.
company. But it even created these figures.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
Now, they're not perfect. This isn't quite right, and
That's
it's got the
fine.
text, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And
This thing,
that was one of the document files that was in there.
yeah, I had it created as a PNG file.
PNG. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it would have done JPEG. I just like PNG.
Yeah.
But I did this in about 3-4 hours.
Wow.
Wow, that's
It
remarkable.
is 265 pages and
Oh,
74,000 words long.
Wow.
And I'm happy if anybody's interested in this, I'll send it to them.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd like to see that as an example of,
it right now, it would be close to the average textbook that I've used. I'm going to spend a week or two refining it, cleaning it up, polishing it. And then I think it'll be better than about 2/3 of the textbooks I've ever used.
so just to be
could
clear what
you
you're
set
saying,
Oh,
you
awesome.
you you built this in 3 or 4 hours where and just gives you a foundation to start
days?
from. And if you just go from there and you invest another whatever, let's just say you invest another 40 hours in it, whatever that would be over a course of a couple weeks, then you're pretty close to being there. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And to give
Oh,
you a point of comparison, our other textbook, which is for a junior level Introduction to Information Systems business school class, we spent a year writing it.
Yeah.
wow.
And that's been a very successful textbook. It's
And,
at
and I know
wholesale prices, its revenue
that's
is
not
1.5,
unusual. That's not unusual to spend
1.7
a
million
year.
dollars.
Ooh. Wow.
That's
So,
really,
I
that's
mean,
So
that,
remarkable.
could you look at other books that are out there? Let's say I want to do sort of a competitive analysis of books that might be similar to one that I've got that I could do better, but has a higher revenue potential and then a whole marketing plan. But you want to look at what others are doing. So you say, well, this is what I've got. How can I make it better? What do we need to do so that it gets greater visibility, XYZ, and has a greater desirability perspective? Could you do something like that if you don't own or have those other books?
absolutely. Well, if those other books are either available on PDF in PDF format that it can find, or
Okay,
there's
yeah.
enough information about those books for it to put something together.
I'm thinking like the Amazon, I figure out what I want. These are what I've got to get. I may be able to get it as a Kindle, but
Yeah.
you can't download a Kindle as a PDF. That's
No.
the problem. Yeah.
But what it can often do is go out and find reviews of the books and things on publisher websites and tables of
Which you
contents
can
and that
get on
kind of thing.
Amazon and things like that. I mean, if you want to use
Yeah.
that as a
But
tool.
but my rule with all of this is to try it.
Yeah, no, I
It's
agree.
going to work, it's not going to work. Just try it out, and if it doesn't work, you're not out that much.
Yeah.
What
Um,
I've done a couple times in situations like it where there was some information in a book I really wanted to import to something like this. I just dictated a few pages. If I found a chapter that I really liked, I just dictated, uh, 5 or 6 pages to get the basic gist of it, dropped it into a tool, and it gave
Oh,
it
I
pretty good.
dictated another book. Is that what you're saying? Or
Yeah,
your own
obviously, I
book?
would learn,
Okay.
like if I wanted to take Craig's textbook and just want to get the flavor of it, get some idea,
Yeah, yeah.
go to one of his chapters and just flat out dictate it into, just a
Got it.
file of my own
yeah,
with a transcript, just
a,
dictate it, just literally read it into a microphone. So I got a file, an audio file, then make a transcript and drop it in, and then, of course, tell it then to do something with it. That's what I've done a few times.
along those same lines, I think you could probably take pictures of a
I was
few
about to say,
pages.
just a scan or a
Mm,
PDF,
There you
yeah,
go. I
photo.
hadn't thought
that
about that.
works
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I mean it's the same idea.
And to reverse engineer it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean
You know.
if you wanted to compare like writing styles
Mhm.
or
Right.
something like that. It would get tedious if you had to take more than a few pages worth of pictures, but that might be enough.
Hmm.
How is it citing?
So here, I ask it to put everything kind of at the end. So it's got a reference section down here at the end.
Okay,
Oh, wow.
great.
Now, what I'm going to do before I do anything with this book is I'm
Verify.
going to copy and paste this, put it into a separate session, maybe even a separate tool, and say, I want you to go out and verify every one of these links.
Mm.
How good is it doing that?
It's good.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Awesome.
you also have PhD students who can do that for you.
Right.
Not for this. No, but I've done that. Just go through, like if I'm reviewing a paper and I suspect something,
Yeah.
I'll put the references in, go in and verify these references. Another trick, Jerry, that I use a lot is I will tell it before it includes a reference to find the URL for that reference, for that source, and verify that URL.
Okay, that's good.
Or for academic articles, there's something called a document object identifier, or a DOI, and it serves the same kind of purpose. It even created the index. Now, we don't have page numbers yet, so this is not a great index, but it even created the index.
Wow,
That's remarkable.
really good.
Yeah, so I mean, literally in 4 hours or less, this was created.
Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool?
That's very
So
cool.
That's
Sounds
just
cool.
the contraction of time alone, I find stunning and so helpful.
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
but I
Yep.
want to pause here. The reason this worked is because I gave it a lot of context. It knows how I like to do things. I've got my kind of instructions set up reasonably well. The write like Craig skill was huge. The example chapter I gave it was huge. Giving it a syllabus gave it the structure it needed. And then I spent a lot of time on that upfront stuff with the architecture, working all of that out first before it started writing. That's called, you may not have heard this phrase yet, but it's going to be huge. It's already starting to be huge. Context engineering.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah.
So you can do so much more with these tools. That not only more in sense of how much you can get done, but it's higher quality if you spend some time shaping that context.
Mhm.
And there are a few different ways to do it, and I want to spend some time talking about those different ways. But before I do that, I want to give you a couple of cautions about coding agents and codecs in particular. One of the bad things about these coding agents, and this is Codex, Claude Code, or Claude Cowork, is they don't work like the apps across devices.
Mm.
So if you're using ChatGPT on your phone and then you get on your computer, you're going to pick up conversation right where you left off. These don't work this way. Like I when I first started using Codex, I was using it on my desktop Mac, and then I was at a coffee shop on my MacBook Air, and I couldn't find my sessions.
Mm,
It's because they're not there.
yeah.
Now, if
Now
you
that's only
use,
the coding because you've got it in the other ones.
well, that's right. So ChatGPT or Claude Chat,
Are fine.
it's just fine.
Yeah.
But Cowork is just a wrapper around Claude Code. And so Cowork, Claude Code, Codex, they're going to be local only.
So
Now, what you can do, and what I do, is I put all of my work for these coding agents in my Mac documents file. It's in that folder, which I can get at from another Mac, or be kind of like OneDrive.
okay.
I use Dropbox for everything, my normal work. I didn't want it to touch Dropbox. So I've kind of got it, they call it sandboxing. I've kind of got it sandboxed over here with documents. So in my documents folder. So like Nancy, you might have it all set up on a OneDrive, a special OneDrive folder. Call it Claude Code or Codex or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Those files you can get at from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they're cloud-based, you can get at them from anywhere. It's just the sessions. There's also a little bug in Codex where it only keeps like the last 50 chats.
Oh.
And so I had a bunch of chats disappear. They're not really gone. They're just not visible, which is a colossal pain. And if you run into that problem, let me know. I know how to work around it. But it's a bit tedious, and it would be hard to explain right now. More detail than you want to hear, I'm sure.
So in terms of just flat out working on your project, if you can kind of if you keep it like, I have a desktop computer and a laptop as my two main computers. If I'm working on my desktop, just try to keep it there as one
That's what I would do. Or
workload.
just know that if you run something on your laptop,
You're going to have to drop it in on your,
if you need the chat session.
right.
So this is another here's a pro tip. I create two types of documents that help a lot with transitions across sessions or across tools. One is the handoff document. So I will literally say, create a handoff document I can give to another session or another tool that summarizes what we've done. And then I can take that handoff document and plop it into whatever I need to plop it into. And it kind of captures a lot of the context of that chat session.
Okay.
Craig, is
And
this what you were referencing this the other day when we were talking about the idea of AI getting tired after an extended?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The context rot. Yeah.
Kind of clear the cache concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're really useful. Plus, if you go back 3 weeks later to try to figure out what you were doing, you can look at the handoff documents. If I think I'm going to have a lot of them, I will tell it to put the date at the end. So if I end up with 2 or 3 handoff documents, they don't overwrite each other.
Makes sense.
The other thing is, now this is a research term, we call it a theoretical memo. So memos are to memorialize something.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times, if I've been doing something and I really like the idea and I want to make sure I capture it, I tell it to write, I say theoretical memo because that's what we call it. But if you just said, write a memo to capture this idea, and then I put it into a Google Doc. And 6 months later, wait, what was I remember I had this idea, but I can't remember exactly what it was. I just need to know enough about it to search for it in Google Drive. And they're just text files, so you can have a ton of them without taking up a lot of storage space. So,
That's good.
all right,
So,
go ahead. Sorry, Jerry.
I have a question about this. If I'm in the early stages of writing a book, I wrote a book like 18 years ago, and so it's much different today. And this is about my personal experience with a health crisis. So I can see where this would help with formatting and citing some work. I mean, I'm also a counselor, so to bring in some of that, some of the psychology of some of the things that happen would be helpful. But that versus more of an academic piece, how would you say that they? I mean, is it because mine would be more subjective, right? It's
Yeah.
not like it's going to get into my head and say, "Oh, I remember this experience." I mean, I'd have to put that information in.
No, that's a really interesting question, and so the whole AI assisted author was based around that, but you need to have a content catalog for that process to work. If you don't have the content catalog yet, I would do a couple of things. One, I would, in your voice memo app, in a reflection journal, just whatever is your favorite medium or set of media, I would start recording your thoughts. So, like a lot of people have reflection journals, put that in. These memoing app, these voice recorder apps are
Yeah.
so easy to use. You can download those as MP3s, throw them in. You can ask it to transcribe them, and they'll do it. And start gathering all of that sort of thing. Then,
I have done that and put it in and kind of transcribed it into kind of a personal journal, like
oh, perfect.
day one, day two. Yeah.
So I would take that and put it in a separate folder so you have that safe. You have it safe. And then I would start just chatting with whatever tool you want to use about the best way to structure the book. One of my new techniques is asking it to interview me. Here's what I want to do. You're going to be in charge of this project. Interview me.
That's
And
a
then,
great
and
way.
then when you get that done, ask it to write a handoff document or a summary of the interview or whatever might make sense. Put that in your project folder. And that's a great way to just have it go through and help you refine your thoughts.
Okay.
So that's what I would do.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sure.
Very
And then there are a couple of ways you can do this. If you want to start playing with these coding agents, put all of that into a folder. I'm a huge fan of Markdown format, which I can show you a Markdown file. I can find one here. Oh, whoops. Give me just a second. Sorry, I have so many. Here we go. Share this one. So it just uses these tags like this. A single hash mark makes it a title. Two hash marks tells it it's like a second level title. And you don't need to know any of this. It's just a really shortcut way to have a formatted document if you ever need it. You can copy and paste this into a Google Doc.
Are you the one who put the hashtags in, or was that from?
Chat, whatever tool did it, did that, yeah.
Okay.
If you just tell it to do a markdown document, it's going to have .md at the end of it. But it's kind of all it is a text file. So it's really small.
Okay.
But if you want it formatted, all you have to do is go into Google Drive, create a Google Doc, right click, and then paste from Markdown.
Okay.
It'll come, see how it's all nicely formatted?
Wow.
So that's a really shortcut way to do small files. Because remember, there's a memory involved. Buck mentioned that. There's only so much that a session can remember.
Yeah.
And all of the overhead in a PDF file or a docx file cuts into that and slows things down. So the closer you can get to just a plain old text file, the better off you are.
Okay.
Okay. So a couple of ways that you can do context, and I'm going to show you in Claude the same kind of thing would work in ChatGPT. If you're using chat or cowork, I would start projects in chat, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Start a project, click on projects, new project, and I'm just going to pick one of these. Well, here. And then you can give it instructions. And these could go on much longer than this one. This is simple. but you tell it what you're trying to do. Like Jerry, you might say, I'm trying to write a book about my experiences with a significant health incident and how I recovered from it. And I want to focus on giving people hope under extreme circumstances or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
I would have Claude or ChatGPT interview me about this and then say, I want to carry this over to a project, write the project instructions for me, then copy and paste it into here. But mine was pretty simple, so I didn't need to do all that. It's a fairly simple task. Then I have not done this yet. You can add all of your context files here. So what I would do over time is I would refine what I want to do with this news brief. I'd talk about the format. I'd talk about the cadence of it. I'd talk about the audience. I'd talk about all that stuff. And I'd slap it in these project files. That gives it context. So now it knows what this project is all about, and you don't have to add those files as an attachment every time you want to refer to them. Okay. So let me show you one that's a lot more complicated. I'm working on a book called Slow AI. And I've got these are all of my AI Goes to College Substack articles. There are probably 115 of them. I had either Cowork or Codex take all of them and put them into one big file. That's what this file is. This is a paper I wrote about this AI developmental hierarchy, which is just how people work through from being really simple and just outsourcing things to AI to true mastery where they know how to use AI appropriately in different circumstances. I'd gone through and come up with, I know you can't see it, but I've got this document that I worked with Claude in figuring out a table of contents for the entire book. And so I put that in as context. And now, where we go? Stop share. Don't you love the way Zoom just randomly moves things on your screen so you can't find them anymore? Claude.
And Craig, we got about 7-8 minutes left.
Okay. And so now I can do all kinds of things without having to attach these ever again. And as I create more things that I want it to remember across chats, I'll put them in here into the project documents.
Oh.
So that gives you all of that context. Then the other thing that's really great about projects is it organizes your chats better. You know how you lose chats? Now all of my things about slow AI are here.
Okay.
And if you have another, I'm not going to actually do this because I don't want to, but you can click on any chat in Claude, and I've already got this in a project, but I could move it to a different project or add it. Here's one. Oh, here's one that's not on a project. I could add it to this project.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And Jerry and Buck, I know this is like the proverbial drinking from a fire hose, but that's the way these things go. Brad will post this video out to Heartbeat, and I sincerely am happy to help any of you with any of this. If you can't remember, wait, how do I do this? How do I do that? Please don't bang your head against the wall trying to figure it out. Just get with me, and I know a couple of us have talked, and in a few minutes, I can probably get you moving.
Craig, I'm just curious, have you used Notebook LM at all, and how similar, I mean, capability-wise, do you consider the two of them?
Notebook LM is much more automated in what it does, which is good and bad. It means it's easier to do it, but it gives you less control.
Right, gotcha.
And we actually started with AI assisted author, we start with Notebook LM.
Right.
Okay.
So if you go, Buck, if you go into the course part on Heartbeats, because you've joined Heart, well, you couldn't be here if you hadn't joined Heartbeat, but you're in my community on Heartbeat. You go
Right.
back to March, I think. The
Mhm.
first two sessions, I believe we had were pretty much all Notebook LM.
I'll take a look at that.
And
I'm
Craig
a
did a
little more
special
familiar
deep
with
dive
that.
on that too. I was going to say, I think Craig, you had done like a deep dive just on
Yeah.
Notebook LM as well. So that should be
Right.
helpful to you, Buck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did a
Yeah.
separate session, right, on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the reason I would probably stick with Notebook LM for a lot of this upfront work is because it's so easy to work with. You can kind of get your head around your project and the organization with Notebook LM and then carry it over to one of these other tools that has more flexibility, but at the cost of needing a little bit more expertise.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I've been primarily a Gemini user, and Notebook obviously was the natural progression
yeah.
to go from that. So that's kind of how I ended up there.
Now, I have not, since you're a Gemini user, I have not used anti-gravity,
Mm-hmm.
but that is Google's version of Codex and Claude Code.
Okay.
I've used it to write software, but I haven't used it for knowledge work yet.
Gotcha.
So,
Good
Good to
stuff.
know.
Have you all felt that
That's a
this was helpful today?
Absolutely.
Yes. If I could ask one more question, I
Sure.
see we have a couple of minutes. Craig, going back to what you were talking about is the handoff document. What I've done, and I'm glad you explained that, because what I had been doing was, I wouldn't, I would have a chat session, maybe like 3 weeks later, I'd go back to it and say, hey, I've been away for a while, summarize what we just talked about, or what we talked about 3 weeks ago. Do you see any difference in doing it that way versus what you described, is to writing the handoff memo like after the chat so you can save it somewhere later?
yeah, yes.
Okay.
So what you're doing is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The handoff
Okay.
memo has two advantages, though.
Okay.
You don't have to find the chat.
Mm-hmm.
You can go. I store a lot of the handoff memos both in a file in my documents folder and also as a Google Doc because I can find it really easily. But the more important thing is you can take that and put it in a new session
Okay.
or a new project or even a new tool. Like
Mhm.
I'll move back and forth sometimes between Claude and Codex because I kind of like the way Claude writes better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here.
Yeah, so I'll do something in Codex, they write a handoff document. I'll take that handoff document and put it into Claude,
Okay.
which you
Okay.
can't, that's the biggest downside to the approach you have.
Okay.
But if it's kind of a one-off thing
Mm-hmm.
where you just want to get a refresh on something you were doing, you don't have to mess with a handoff document.
Okay. No, I like that idea though, the handoff document.
But the prompt is literally write a handoff document
Mm-hmm.
that captures the essence of what we're talking about. And sometimes I'll tell it, make sure you ignore this part or emphasize that part. But most of the time, it's just write a handoff document.
Yeah. Okay. No,
So,
I appreciate that.
no problem.
All right, good. Any other questions people have before we kind of get ready to say goodbye here in a minute or two?
All right, and do we want to do this again next month?
Well, yeah, that's my questions, a couple of those type of things. Yeah, if we did you, the four of you who are not Craig and I, feel like it's valuable enough to continue to do this on a monthly basis. There's other people who've been involved in the past as well who might want to chime in. The next time we would schedule to do this would be July the 10th, I believe.
Yeah.
If we went on a second Friday of a month schedule.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
This has been great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be happy to jump in again. That gives us a chance to take a look at the original materials you did. They're on the Heartbeat site too.
Right, and this video we're just doing today, as long as I don't screw it up, will be on the Heartbeat site either later tonight or by mid-morning tomorrow, and then review everything, and then
And if there's anything you want to see in the next session, either email me or you can put a message in Heartbeat and I'll see it eventually. But if there's something you want to, I'm wondering how I do this or how I do that.
So it sounds like revisiting Notebook LM might be something we might want to do. It's been a while.
Good, because yeah, it's got some new capabilities.
So,
One last real quick thing. One of the things that these coding agents are surprisingly good at, if you have to create slide decks,
Mm.
they can really cut a lot of time, especially since both Claude and ChatGPT have gotten better at images. So if you have to do that kind of thing,
Mhm.
or even I haven't tried it for like cover art, that other than the book cover, but it can be pretty good.
good. Awesome.
Nice.
Well,
So,
I just want to
Brad,
say,
should we wait for your email to do the review? Going back to what we were
yeah,
talking about
well,
earlier.
you can go ahead and send it to me if you want to.
Okay.
I will send out an email at some point, but don't hesitate. If you can put together, I would prefer to be in video so I can transcribe it and that kind of thing. We could use it. But if you want to, however you want to do it, audio or type it out,
Yeah.
anyway,
Okay.
and not, it doesn't have to be a whole lot, 50, 100 words, something like that.
Okay.
So
All right.
did the book really blow your minds? Was that not
That was
clickbait?
pretty impressive. Yeah.
I'm still shocked by it,
Yeah.
as you can
That's
tell.
what it is.
That's awesome. That's
Amazing.
awesome. Well, I want to say a big thank you to Craig. He does invest so much in this. I know he enjoys it, but still, I think we all appreciate the energy and the focus he's brought to this. What we all agree with that, right? How,
Agreed.
And
Yeah.
sorry for the fire hose. It's just, oh, I want to show this. I want to show that.
Get it.
oh, you're excited about it, and that's what makes us
Yeah.
all excited. And when I leave these sessions, I'm going, my head hurts, and then I try to take, go back through some of the videos and try to apply certain things to what I'm working on. And
Yeah.
of course, part of my agenda sort of is how I can take all this new stuff and finally get something done with my book.
Yeah.
Because one of the issues I have is that there's so much new stuff coming in
Yeah.
that how do you process it all? And there comes a point when you got to say, here it is, published.
Yeah.
What?
I want to know how cold it is where you are, Craig. It looks freezing.
Oh, I wish.
Is
That
that
was
a-
Flagstaff, which I miss this time of the year since I'm sitting here sweating in my upstairs office. Um, that was Maggie in Dallas. So Dallas
Aw.
would not walk. He would not go outside when we first got him. He had been chained to a bedpost for 6
how
months.
awful.
My.
And for the last
my
couple of
gosh.
months, the other dog that was chained to that same bed had expired.
Oh,
And so he was terrified. And the little border collie sled dog mix gradually brought him out of his shell.
aw.
So that's him tearing around the backyard playing. So it
How
was,
old was he when you got him?
he was an adult. He was probably 4 or 5.
Oh my God, how awful.
Mm.
Anybody can
Just
do that.
terrified. If I took him outside, he wouldn't go down the driveway.
Yeah.
I'd be
But
terrified.
gradually
Yeah.
came out of his shell and turned out to be a great dog.
Yeah.
Aw.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
You're a good dog, Dad.
Yes, one's laying behind me right now, waiting for its greenie.
There you go.
One last thing. I'm working on a document about context engineering. Once I get that done, I'll post it to Heartbeat and we'll let y'all know it's there.
Great.
It
Thank
seems
you.
like a very important thing. And I believe
Yeah.
if we can be somehow helpful to you in your project you're working on with the slow
Absolutely.
AI and you brought together some terms that I'm not familiar with, kind of leaning on the context. I'd heard of that, but you've really unpacked it. And certainly the slow AI, I love that because it's counterintuitive, that kind of thing. So I love
Okay.
it. I want to say thank everybody for being here, and we'll reconvene again on July the 10th, 3 o'clock Eastern time. And we are open to others joining us kind of as long as they kind of have some connection to either you personally or to, one of the groups that we're a part of, Pod Indie and the School of Podcasting. And because we don't want this to, this is a, if you're going to be a part of this, I think you understand you've got to be at least somewhat invested intellectually, at least to say, this is important to me. And so.
We can say the truth. You got to be one of the cool kids.
One of the cool kids. There you go. As always.
So if you think they're one of the cool kids, they're all right.
We
They're
can
all
do
right with
that.
us.
There you go.
That sounds good.
Well, bless everybody. This will be up by tomorrow morning. It'll be up. Okay.
Thank you very
Brett,
much.
can
Thanks
you
so
stay
much.
on for a minute or two?
Sure.
Brett?
Absolutely.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a
Have a
good
good
weekend.
weekend.
Happy 4th, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Take
See you
care,
later,
everyone.
everybody.
You too. Be safe.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
See you later, everybody. All right.
So that was fun.
It was. It
It's a
was
good
fun.
group, good group.
Good group.
So I wanted to just plant two seeds, and you tell me. You don't need to tell me now, but I'm not sure these are good ideas or bad ideas. I, I I don't know if there's a good podcast AI for content creators.
Are you saying we consider starting such?
Yeah, I think that might be something. You know, we were talking about maybe doing a podcast.
Right.
I think where I messed up with the pitch to empowered podcasting
Oh yeah.
is I made it too much about AI assisted author. It was a little too much of a, oh, we want to promote our thing. I
Right.
think if I had made it about context engineering, they might have been more interested.
Okay.
And
I
so if
love
we
it.
do
I love it. And
something,
content is what it's really all about in terms of what we do. And I agree with you. I've not seen anything obvious about content. And of course, write the book is content. So
yeah, yeah.
it would,
And we could make AI assisted author a sponsor, kind of like Dave does.
oh yeah. I like that. I like that.
So,
Well, here timeline. Let's what I'd like to do kind of with you and as well. And if we made it scheduled to meet, I think 2 weeks from now, something like that. And then I'm gone the following 2 weeks on
right.
vacation. So our next meeting that way, just you and I, let's try to make a decision one way or another about what we're going to at least that we're going to do something. We've already
Yeah.
we decided we're going to do something, but like whether it's a podcast, YouTube/podcast, um, this type of thing in order to promote it, and then maybe some of the marketing ideas that I was
Yeah.
sharing the other day.
And
Let's make that decision, and then when I get back from vacation, are you taking a vacation this summer? You're going somewhere?
yeah,
Or
we
whatever?
might late in the summer.
Yeah.
And we might need to do YouTube, not just a podcast
Oh
because
yeah.
of the
Well,
visuals. Yeah.
I kind of feel like we got it, especially if you do anything visual,
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of needs to be, and I know that Dave and many others are, and I basically am more an audio guy myself, but I just think we got to be realistic that YouTube is kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, with what we're talking about doing. So, all right, I'll give it some thought. You can do the same. And then,
Well, that's basically what I was talking about the other day. We to think about doing a podcast, that kind of thing. Or do you think at this point, do you think you may or may not be coming to Pod Indy? Have you kind of given that any thought yet?
I,
Or
you know, I'm going to plan to come. What date is it?
November 7th. What I'm saying is I want to give you, a significant slot, 40 minutes to talk about what you talk about. And that could be a launch point for our new cohort or something like that. So
And I'm sorry,
you,
give me the date one more time.
November 7th.
Oh, yeah, that should be fine. I've got another conference, but it's not till the end, not till around Thanksgiving, so it'll be fine.
And I could, you know, I would, I can't pay you a lot.
No, no, I don't need anything.
I'll pay for your ticket for sure. But
No, I mean the university will pay for it.
yeah, well, that's awesome. Basically, I'm doing the same thing for Dave. Dave's
Yeah,
going to do.
Brad,
Dave,
I'm gonna have to jump off.
all right,
Tracy's got something I got.
all right. Hey,
Okay,
blessings on you, man. I'll see you soon.
okay, all right. See you.